You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I am back. Rudrance for Black and White Sports 2. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. As always, thank everybody for watching. Like, comment, you know the drill. Check out the podcast. All the audio from all the channels goes on that podcast. Link in the description. Actually, link in the comments section. And you can pretty much get us wherever podcast network you want to try to use. Apple, Google, Spotify, you know the drill. So we're going to talk about OBJ. We're going to look at some reaction from some NFL fans. A lot of people are sort of baffled by what it is the Ravens have done here. Why did they pay that much? That's a question that PFT ended up asking. Why are they overpaying? A lot of people are drawing the line that this is a slam dunk, that Lamar Jackson is coming back to the Ravens. We've said for the last few days that we felt like it was starting to turn back in the direction of the Ravens because, A, $32 million is still a big pay bump for Lamar. By the way, while I'm thinking about it, Lamar Jackson, hire Odell Beckham Jr.'s agent. Whoever that is, that's who you need to call because people are just baffled right now. There is some word out there that the contract is actually a 5-year deal with 4 voidable years after the first year. All right. But, you know, the baffling part about this is, number one, who the hell were you competing against exactly? The Jets? I mean, word has it the Jets were willing to pay about $4 million. $3 to $4 million. And then it was going to be very incentive-laced. Now, OBJ is really what? A number 3 receiver? Now, on the Ravens, yeah, he's probably a 2, maybe. But the thing is, he has not done anything truly substantial since 2019. And that's what OBJ is quickly turning into Cam Newton on social media because there's this big bang of the drum all the time that somehow Cam Newton can still play. I think OBJ can still play better than, comparably speaking for a wide receiver, better than Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton's washed, but we're talking 2 ACLs here, right? It's just weird. And it's like, well, and look, I'm not going to lie, it does absolutely look like this was a let's sign Lamar Jackson's boy. Let's just sign his boy and see if that's going to turn the tide. And look, guys, I do believe it turns the tide. Lamar still needs an agent. Again, Odell, hook him up. Tell the boy he needs an agent, for crying out loud. Call your dude up and say, look, hook up with my agent and he'll get you. I mean, God, if he got Odell $15 million with $3 million in bonus that can go up to $18 million, that's the guy. Whoever that guy is, that's the guy. The Ravens on Sunday signed Odell Beckham Jr. We're also going to look at some NFL fan reaction too. So this is Larry Brown Sports. We got some TMZ and some PFT. Ravens on Sunday signed Odell Beckham Jr. to a 1-year deal. Lamar Jackson seems extremely excited about the move. Jackson, who went public with his trade request last month, may not want to leave Baltimore anymore. Not long after Beckham announced that he had joined the Ravens, the star wide receiver was spotted partying with Jackson at Live nightclub in Miami. And this is just some of that scene right there. I don't want to now I'm breaking out. Look, there's Lamar. I mean, honestly, Lamar looks kind of bored. If I'm just being honest, he looks kind of bored there. And then we keep going, and there's Odell throwing up the deuces right there. Yep. I'm sure whatever this guy's smoking is completely legal. Yeah. So a little throwing that up, right? According to TMZ, Beckham and Jackson dined at the popular Prime 112 Steakhouse in Miami before they went to Live. The big question is whether Jackson and OBJ were celebrating as teammates friends or both, Jackson made no attempt to keep his approval of Beckham signing a secret. In addition to celebrating with Beckham, he also had a notable social media response. We took a look at that yesterday. Beckham's decision to sign with the Ravens is a strong indicator that Jackson is not going anywhere. And this is just a little more TMZ kind of shit, right there. You've got to imagine Jackson loves the idea of bringing in a top-tier wideout like Odell, and judging by the fact that they're partying together on night one, it appears that's the case. Jackson publicly congratulated Beckham on the signing with the Ravens, posting a photo on IG of the two, what appears to be a FaceTime call. We did a video on that. So let's get over here, because Florio is talking about why the hell did they overpay. Now, the Ravens, by the way, are getting a visit in. Jackson Smith and Jigba is visiting the Ravens. See, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Now, there's been a peel back the curtain thing involving wide receivers in the NFL draft. Evidently, and I haven't looked at the number, but a massive part of the league, teams, believe that Jackson Smith and Jigba is the only first round wide receiver in this entire draft. That shows you the disconnect between the real, where the metal meets the pedal, metal meets the road, whatever. That shows you the disconnect between NFL teams and the draft pundits, because the draft pundits will say, well, there's like 4 or 5 guys in the first round. Well, the league is telling you there's only one. Okay? So that's going to be, it's kind of in the same way that, draft pundits will elevate quarterbacks. Remember Malik Willis was supposed to go number 3 overall, and then he slipped, down to the 3rd or 4th round. Okay, I don't even remember which exactly. That's how, that's how far he fell. I can't even tell you if it was the 3rd or 4th round for sure. And it's not valid to this conversation, but it is valid in a strange kind of way. So here are some ideas that Florio put together as to why exactly the Ravens did this, because we're going to look at the reaction from these NFL fans on PFT, and a lot of people are a lot like everybody else. They're kind of dragging the Ravens' asses on this. The Ravens have had a hard time persuading receivers to choose to play for an offense predicated on the run. That's no lie, but look, Todd Monken is there. He's the offensive coordinator. Monken was in Cleveland with Beckham. Okay, so that part does make sense. He's already familiar with the offense. Great. To get someone like Beckham to choose Baltimore, the Ravens needed to come to the table with real money, despite red flags, including his age, 31 in November, and injury history, 2 ACL tears in the same knee since October 2020. It's kind of weird, because we've seen good receivers, great receivers, go through that same kind of thing, and nobody in the NFL wants to touch them. Again, you've got to wonder, is that the power of having a great agent, Lamar? Second, the Ravens have been accused by some of being responsible for the absence of a long-term contract with quarterback Lamar Jackson. Signing Beckham, who has been consistently declining lesser offers, shows that the Ravens know how to sign an elite player to a more than fair deal. Is he elite? ? That's the deal here. Did they overpay OBJ to a point? Maybe they did. The message is that the contract shows they know how to make a great player an offer he won't refuse. Again, do we know he's great? ? Third, with the Ravens unable to get Jackson to say, quote, yes to any and all contract offers, Beckham becomes a potentially viable piece of the puzzle. His mere presence can work as a magnet for Jackson. That's very possible, making him naturally want to sign a contract so that he can present to work with Beckham in the offseason program or in training camp. Beyond simply being there, Beckham can try to persuade Jackson to do what he has to do in order to get a deal done, whether that means getting him to hire an agent or simply getting him to understand what it takes to get a deal done. Perhaps Beckham could even work as a liaison between Jackson and the Ravens. Okay, so Florio was insinuating that hell, you might have to go so far as Beckham will be the intermediary between Jackson and the Ravens to get a deal done. What the frick? Really? Odell's now going to be Lamar's agent? I mean, that's crazy. And of course, he doesn't have that label. We know he's not an agent, right? Obviously, but they're saying, hey, maybe he can talk some sense into Lamar and have him sign the 3-year 133, right? Something like that. If it comes back on the table, that $200 million offer was real, and they have since removed it off the table. So that's something else to think about here. Now, let's get to some reaction to some of these fans. Not sure what point they tried to make, but certainly overpaid. Maybe they really think LJ is gone, and or they will release him later, not tie up $32 million, and figured overpaying to help his replacement. No, I can't see that. Because they're stupid? Look, there's a lot of that going on, I can tell you right now. I mean, look, that got 655 likes to 83 dislikes. It's totally nonsensical as to what they have done here, other than to overpay, in my opinion, a bargaining chip to try to get Lamar back in the house. Ravens added 4 voidable years on the end of this deal so they could fit it in this year's cap. That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. Desperation and its cousin, incompetence, are the reason why they signed OBJ to this ridiculous deal and were unable to sign Jackson years ago. Got a lot of likes on that. Sometimes in life, you have to pay a premium for things you really want and or need. As a Ravens fan, I have PTSD from our wide receivers. Well, it may continue after what they just did. Well, it is obvious it is where wide receivers go to die, and you have to overpay them by about $10 million to show up. Yeah, I mean, we got to remember here, Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, was Lamar's boy. And after playing with Lamar, he wanted out. Now, look, some could certainly argue that maybe his position didn't get any better by going to Kyler. Personally speaking, I think he downgraded. I'd rather have Lamar than Kyler Murray, but maybe that's just me. Really, when your first rounder demands a trade a couple of years in because he knows he's throwing away his one real NFL chance with that horrible offensive scheme, that said it all. I wouldn't doubt that agents tell Ravens not to draft my player because he won't show up. That's an interesting take. It is. It is, absolutely. Kind of funny that Jackson posted a video of him and OBJ after signing. Kind of leads me to believe the Ravens probably got a deal worked out with Jackson. Even though the Ravens got Monken and OC OBJ is familiar with, I don't think he signs with the Ravens without knowing they are going to sign Jackson to a deal. I tend to agree with that. Okay? I can't see... I agree with that to a point. Okay? He may have been on the fence. Let's be real. Does he really give a rip who the quarterback is? Yeah, that's his boy. Yeah, it helps the Ravens and their chances. But he got potentially upwards of $18 million. That son of a bitch doesn't care if Baker Mayfield comes back at this point for that kind of money. I mean, I'm just being real, okay? This is one of those times, at the end of the day, OBJ went, damn, they're willing to pay me 15 plus 3 incentives? I'm signing. I don't give a rip who the damn quarterback is. Let's just be real there. So, absolutely, OBJ is way past his prime and is a huge waste of money. Wide receivers are a dime a dozen these days. Incompetence / stupidity. I mean, that got a shit ton of likes. He better produce early and leave all the antics at the front door. This guy says he's tired of all of them. Lamar, OBJ, and Aaron. Yeah. Desperate to fix their horrible passing game. Need a quarterback who can consistently throw a completion. No one denies Lamar's a freak athlete, but running and dumping off the tight ends hasn't worked. Yeah, because you get in the playoffs, and that's where we can leave that. But yeah, but who else was going to pay OBJ more than $4 million a year? The Ravens are running themselves into the ground. I got to tell you, a lot of people are certainly wondering, did Ozzie Newsome not rub off on Eric DeCosta, the general manager now? Now, Ozzie's still in the building. You can walk down the hall to Ozzie and be like, 15 mil, OBJ, and him go, 2019's his last good year? I mean, we looked at the stats yesterday. Just being honest, 2019 was his last full, healthy, productive season. That's crazy. That is, they're trying to kill multiple birds with one stone here, I believe. Let's get Lamar's buddy in here. Maybe we strike gold and he throws up 900 yards and 12 touchdowns, and this will all be worth it. Maybe this motivates Lamar to get back in the building. Maybe this motivates Lamar to do a long-term deal, but I will recognize this too. This is a one-year deal. Lamar's non-exclusive franchise tag is a one-year deal. Are they thinking about blowing the whole thing up after next year or after the year after? I mean, that's just something to think about. So, anyway, there we go. That's some gauge from some NFL fans. I wanted to do some reaction because so many people are baffled by this. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. It doesn't make sense. Look, you can be desperate for receivers, then draft 3. I mean, literally draft 3 if you got to. You can do that, and it costs you way less money than this guy would, right? So there's a real crash and burn feel to the Ravens all of a sudden. I mean, when the Ravens start doing things the Browns and the Cardinals would do, that's not a great sign. It's not a great sign. I feel bad for John Harbaugh. Surely he could not have been on board with this. I don't know. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.